the hidden hours of Holy Saturday when heaven waited and hell trembled. In the remote Karen village of Mae La, nestled deep in the misty hills of northern Thailand, Holy Saturday dawned with an eerie stillness. The air was thick with the scent of wildflowers and the weight of unspoken truths. For generations, the Karen people had woven their lives around faith, community, and the fragile hope of survival amidst war and displacement. But on this sacred day, a fracture was about to split their world apart. Leah, a young weaver with eyes that held the fire of her ancestors, stood at the edge of the village square. Her hands trembled as she clutched a tattered journal, its pages filled with her late father's confession secrets that could unravel the fragile peace of Mae La. Across from her stood Pastor Thong, the village's spiritual anchor, his weathered face stern but cracking under the strain of accusations. Beside him was Chi, Leah's childhood friend, whose loyalty wavered as whispers of betrayal poisoned the air. The village elders, their voices a low hum of judgment, formed a semicircle, their gazes heavy with expectation. The journal, Leah claimed, revealed that Pastor Thong had brokered a deal with outsiders loggers who promised protection in exchange for sacred land. Land that the Karen believed was blessed by their ancestors. Land where the wildflowers bloomed as a sign of divine favor. The accusation was a spark in dry grass. "You sold our soul." Leah's voice broke as she thrust the journal forward, her words slicing through the morning mist. Thong's eyes widened, not with guilt but with a flicker of fear. "Lies!" he roared, his voice a thunderclap. "Your father was a dreamer, Leah, not a prophet. He wrote fantasies, not truths." She stepped forward, her face a mask of conflict. She had seen the loggers' trucks at the valley's edge, their blades gleaming like predators in the dawn. But she also knew Thong, the man who had baptized her, who had buried her mother with prayers that shook the heavens. "Leah, what if you're wrong?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The crowd gasped, their murmurs rising like a tide. Leah's heart sank. She, her confidant, was slipping away. Then came the twist. An old woman, Mai, hobbled forward from the crowd, her frail frame barely holding her upright. Known as the village's silent keeper of stories, she had not spoken in public for years. Her voice, raspy but clear, cut through the chaos. "The journal is not your father's, Leah," she said, her eyes locking onto the girls. "It's mine." The crowd froze. Mai revealed that she had written the journal decades ago, not as truth but as a warning, a fictional tale meant to teach the village to guard their land. Leah's father, in his grief, had mistaken it for fact, passing it to his daughter as a legacy of truth. The revelation was a gut punch. Leah's crusade, her righteous fury, had been built on a lie. The tension exploded. Leah's face crumpled, her accusations now ash in her mouth. Thong's relief was short-lived. The village's trust in him was shattered, not by guilt but by the chaos of doubt. Chi, torn between love and loyalty, turned away from both, her sobs echoing in the square. The elders, their unity fractured, began to argue among themselves. The wildflowers, once a symbol of hope, now seemed to mock the village's unraveling. As dusk fell, Leah stood alone by the sacred land, the journal heavy in her hands. She had wanted justice, but all she had sown was division. Thong, stripped of his authority, left the village that night, his silhouette fading into the mist. Chi, unable to face Leah, vanished into the hills, seeking answers in solitude. Mai's truth had saved the land but broken the community. The Karen, once bound by faith, now faced a future where every word was suspect, every heart guarded. The stars emerged, cold and distant, as Mae La descended into silence. The hidden hours of Holy Saturday had passed, but the trembling of heaven and hell lingered in the hearts of those left behind. The village, like the wildflowers, would endure, but at what cost? What do you think? Was Leah's pursuit of truth worth the cost of her community's unity, or should she have stayed silent for the sake of peace?